Hi, my name is Matt Kelso. I'm the owner of Sagebrush Coffee, and as this coffee business has kind of evolved, so has my role within the business. And what I like most these days about my job is being able to go to origin and meet the producers of the coffees that we're able to acquire. And so I've been trying to do that a lot more over the last few years, and we want to bring some of those stories to you. Arnulfo Liguizamo is one of the producers that we've worked with for the last couple of years, and he's one of my favorite people in coffee. The story that I want to tell about Arnulfo's coffee, because we're launching it soon, is when we went and visited his family's farm in Colombia. Actually, it's probably 18 months ago already. But that trip was cool. That whole time of just visiting producers at their farms and talking to them was a great few days. And Arnulfo is clearly the most Colombian looking guy you've ever seen. At the farm, he talked about how the country of Colombia or whatever asked him to be the next face of Colombian coffee. And he said no, because they weren't going to pay him for it. And he's like, why would I give you my face for free? But he literally is like the most Colombian guy. And we're walking across his farm, and he grabs the machete off of his hip and chops it at a citrus tree and hands us half of an orange that he had just cut off of his tree. And it was one of the juiciest, best oranges I've ever had. And while we're standing there, we're overlooking the fields, and he's talking about how coffee leaf rust wiped out this entire side of a mountain probably 8 years ago or something like that. And so what they did was plant different varieties on that mountain to kind of protect against it the next time, because coffee leaf rust loves to hop from tree to tree, but it doesn't cross varieties. And so if you can keep them separated, you can protect your farm. And so he did that. And then the first year, he hadn't communicated with his pickers that these were different varieties, so they picked them all and it kind of became this blend, and he was pretty upset about it, and he ends up going back and cupping them kind of blindly, and it turns out that this variety blend was the best coffee they'd had all year. So now they intentionally have reproduced that to where it's a blend of, I think it's Pink Bourbon, Tabi, and Colombian varieties, and he puts that variety blend together to be able to sell coffee. And so this coffee was, by nature, it became this solution to a coffee leaf rust problem, a mistake by the pickers that turned into the best coffee they produce. And that's actually what we bought, and that's what we're selling. And so it's cool to, a lot of times you'll look at this and see this variety blend and be like, oh, well, that's lower quality. We'd rather single variety coffees. But when you get to go to the producer at their farm, they talk about the history of why that came to be and why it's actually the best coffee they offer. It gets us excited to sell these variety blends. So the last story I want to tell about Arnulfo was when we were sitting at lunch. And so we're at lunch, and it's hard to picture how beautiful it was, but we're sitting on the back porch, and they made lunch for us, and we're sitting on this table, and we're watching a storm come in, overlooking just this beautiful landscape of coffee farms and whatever other farms. And Arnulfo kind of looks back and says, isn't this amazing? And we all agreed. And he said, when I had a cup of excellence coffee, I went to America once and decided I wanted to go get my coffee at a coffee shop. And so he went to a coffee shop in, I think, Chicago, and he ordered his cup of coffee, and he said he couldn't believe that they charged him $11 for a cup of coffee. And then he's sitting there and he goes to drink the cup of coffee, and he looks around the coffee shop, and there's not a single person talking to each other. Every single person in the shop is behind their computer, staring at their computer, not really enjoying coffee. And he's like, you Americans don't know how to enjoy life. You're just always working, always looking at your computer. And I said, I absolutely agree. That's why I quit the rat race of life and opened a coffee shop. And my favorite part of the coffee shop is the community that comes with it. I love it when I walk into the shop in the afternoon and everyone's sitting at tables just interacting and talking to each other and laughing and enjoying life. And that's what we've built our coffee shop to be, is around that community. And that's really what I love about coffee.